Right now on KPIX 5 and streaming on CBSN Bay Area. Californians were hoping for a date, but the governor isn't ready to set a timeline on when we can start relaxing social distancing orders. Good evening. I'm Alan Martin.
And I'm Elizabeth Cook. Veronica has the night off. Let's get right to the announcement on what needs to happen to reopen the economy. KPIX 5's Andrea Barber is live in San Francisco with people eagerly listening to what the governor had to say. Andrea?
Well, Elizabeth, Governor Gavin Newsom says he needs an army of contact tracers to help isolate any new cases that pop up of COVID-19 and quarantine them to stop any more spread of the disease.
There is no light switch, and there is no date.
Those looking for a hard and fast date to end the statewide stay-at-home orders did not get that answer at today's briefing.
A couple of additional things. To reemphasize this concept of it's not a switch, it's a dimmer. That we are constantly looking at how quickly we move that dimmer, understanding where we are with our data.
What was laid out was one of Governor Gavin Newsom's 6 key points to loosening restrictions: contact tracing.
When someone tests positive for COVID-19, we want to be able to identify those who've been in close contact with that person. And for each of those persons that we are contact tracing, we want to be able to contact them first. We want to be able to check their symptoms, offer testing, and recommend isolation to start.
Governor Newsom emphasized that this would not be an entirely fresh project, that such programs are deployed on a local level already for HIV and tuberculosis.
You have trained professional workers in local health departments that do this every single day. The question that's asked of us now is to do it at a scale that we have not seen.
But that some state workers may be asked to receive additional online training to ramp up the contact tracing force to 10,000 workers, all in an effort to identify and isolate any additional outbreaks of COVID-19.
It also allows us to modify our stay-at-home order because we have more confidence that when somebody is infected or when somebody is exposed in our community, that they are going to join us in trying to limit the spread by staying home and isolating or quarantining.
Now, there was a tiny bit of loosening offered up at today's news conference with Governor Newsom. He was talking about the return of essential surgeries to hospitals. For quite some time now, hospitals have been reserved for COVID-19 patients. Now the governor says those hospitals can bring back some of those essential surgeries, those heart surgeries, those hip surgeries, things people need to live to make sure that more health outcomes don't pile up in the middle of this crisis. Live in San Francisco tonight, Andrea Barber, KPIX 5.
Well, hundreds of small business owners were watching the governor's news conference today, 6 weeks into the shelter-in-place order, and still no date has been given as to when businesses and restaurants like Mexico Lindo can reopen. Businesses need time to ramp things up, get employees back on the payroll, and for restaurants, it means ordering more food again.
Not even knowing what the new requirements are going to be. I'm anticipating, for example, expanding, moving the tables completely distance away from each other, disposable menus.
Well, business owners say when they can reopen, they hope the state will issue clear and specific opening guidelines to keep workers and clients safe.
We're asking this evening, do you agree with Governor Newsom's approach to the coronavirus pandemic? You can join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter. Just search KPIX, and we'll have some of your responses coming up at 5:30.
While our governor is not setting a date, some other states and big cities are desperate to get back to business.
The free enterprise, and to be able to make sure that what you offer the public meets the needs of the public. Right now, we're in a crisis health-wise, and so for a restaurant to be open or a small boutique to be open, they better figure it out. That's their job.
Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman telling Anderson Cooper today that businesses should be reopened and take responsibility for keeping customers safe during this pandemic. Nevada's governor, however, says he is nowhere near ready to reopen Nevada. Meanwhile, in Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp is facing heat for signing off on businesses like gyms, nail salons, and barber shops to open this Friday. He's getting backlash from mayors across the state who say Kemp will not let them enforce their own stricter rules. And some public beaches are reopening in Florida. Crowds of people flocked to Jacksonville Beach this week, and in Cocoa Beach, officials are allowing people to sit out on the beach in groups under 5 people.
Live look at the White House. A short time ago, the head of the CDC walked back his comments that an outbreak of COVID-19 next fall could be worse than what we're seeing now.
The issue that I was talking about being more difficult, is that we're going to have 2 viruses circulating at the same time. This spring that we just went through, February, we had a benefit of having the flu season ended. So we could use all our flu surveillance systems to say, whoops, this is coronavirus. We need to focus. Next fall and winter, we are going to have 2 viruses circulating.
President Trump also talking about his phone call this morning with Governor Newsom. The president agreed to help California by expediting shipments of swabs for COVID testing.
Could he get it himself? Yes, but I can get it faster. He understands that, and he's done a great job. And we're going to have it to him. We're going to have a lot of it to him over the next 2 days, and we're going to beef it up the following week, get him a lot of additional. He's done a really terrific job in California.
The president also making news by saying he strongly disagrees with Georgia's governor on reopening some businesses by Friday.
Maria Medina at the live news desk. Video just into the newsroom of an officer-involved shooting that's causing controversy in the Bay Area, and we want to warn you, the video may be disturbing to some. San Leandro Police just released its body-worn camera footage from the deadly shooting of Stephen Taylor inside the Walmart on Hesperian Boulevard on April 18th. Since the shooting, community outrage has grown, and the attorney of Taylor's family says there is enough evidence to arrest the officers involved. That is why the police chief says he released the video today, showing his officers confronting Taylor, who is armed with a baseball bat, after Walmart employees say he shoplifted and then used the bat to threaten them as well as customers. Now, the officer tells Taylor repeatedly to put down the bat, but as you can see, Taylor continues to wave it around, advancing toward the officer. That's when the officer uses a taser on him, not once, but twice, before shooting him once in the chest. We are freezing the video after he is shot.
Drop the bat, man. Drop the bat. Drop the bat. Shot fired, shot fired.
We know this incident has garnered much attention in our community, and that's why we're releasing this video now, before the investigation is complete, so that we can provide as much information as possible to our community.
And Taylor died at the scene. He was 33 years old. An anti-terror police group has said the officer who fired the shot had a number of choices to make. Meanwhile, the police chief has not yet identified the officers involved. At the live news desk, I'm Maria Medina.
Health officials now believe the first 2 coronavirus-related deaths in the nation happened in Santa Clara County. The first case is linked back to the beginning of February, which means the virus was far more widespread than previously thought. KPIX 5's Len Ramirez is at the county coroner's office in San Jose, where this new information first came out. Len?
That's right. This new information shows that back in late January and early February, when everyone was focused on limiting air travel from China and cruise ships, that the virus was already here in this community and spreading.
The information that I can share.
Dr. Sarah Cody revealed new details on what are now the first 2 fatal victims of the coronavirus in the United States. They are a 57-year-old woman who died on February 6th and a 69-year-old man who died on February 17th. Both died in their homes. A 70-year-old man who died on March 6th was also added to the new victim list.
None of these cases had a significant travel history. We presume that each of them represent community transmission and that there was some significant level of virus circulating in our community in early February.
That's about a month before California's previous first death from COVID-19 and about 3 weeks before the nation's first fatal case in Washington state on February 29th. It was also a time when testing was very limited.
None of this surprises me.
Dr. John Swartzberg of the University of California says so much was not known about the virus, which could have been spreading here as far back as December.
Remember that in December, we also were seeing a lot of influenza, and it's very difficult to differentiate coronavirus from influenza. So we wouldn't have recognized it even if it was here. And of course, most people, or at least a lot of people infected with this virus, are asymptomatic, and they would be walking around.
The new cases came to light after the Santa Clara County Medical Examiner ran routine postmortems on the victims with help from the Centers for Disease Control. The victims had flu-like symptoms but did not die of the flu.
These individuals tested negative for other viruses, but because there was continued suspicion by the medical examiner that these deaths were caused by COVID-19, the medical examiner sent autopsy tissue to the CDC for definitive testing. Yesterday, the medical examiner coroner received the confirmatory test results.
And Dr. Cody said that if she could have confirmed that COVID-19 was in this community in early February, she would have issued those stay-at-home health orders a lot sooner than she did, as it was those orders throughout the Bay Area did not take effect until March 17th. Reporting live in San Jose, Len Ramirez, KPIX 5.
Overall, deaths in Santa Clara County jumped 20% in March compared to the same time last year. The data does include deaths from coronavirus as well as other causes such as accidents, heart disease, cancer, diabetes. Experts say that the numbers need more study and may suggest the toll of the coronavirus may be more widespread than previously thought. Santa Clara County is reporting 6 more coronavirus-related deaths for a total of 94 now. It has the most cases in the Bay Area, close to 2,000. San Francisco has more than 1,200 cases within the 10 counties. 238 people have died.
Masks or other facial coverings are now required in 6 Bay Area counties. The orders went into effect today in San Francisco, San Mateo, Alameda, Contra Costa, and Marin counties. Sonoma County's rules started last week. In Santa Clara County, officials are strongly recommending people wear masks, but have not mandated it. County officials say you don't necessarily need a mask. Things like bandanas or other fabric will do just fine as long as they cover your nose and mouth. The face coverings are required when you step outside your home, including shopping, visiting health or government buildings, and riding public transit. Violations can lead to fines, jail time, or both.
You might be contacted by a San Francisco police officer who might ask questions about either where you are or why you don't have your face covering on. Please be patient with us because we are here to help.
San Francisco's police chief warning officers will be looking for people who are not following the orders. This after some people were seen gathering at San Francisco's Dolores Park.
Still ahead on KPIX 5, streaming on CBSN Bay Area. New developments in the disappearance of a Northern California woman that's haunted the state for more than 2 decades. New revelations about a search warrant served in connection with the case, what police recovered.
Plus, how low can they go? Bay Area gas prices plunging, where we found it for less than $2 a gallon.
And later, in the era of COVID-19, college dreams hanging in the balance, the major dilemma plaguing high school seniors.
Warm temperatures inland today, but that onshore breeze really kicked in this afternoon. You can see the marine layer streaming through the Golden Gate. Big range of temperatures right now. Tomorrow, though, will be even warmer. We'll talk about that and the weekend forecast coming up.